I want you to pay very close attention to me because in the next few months, the Iranian nation is going to be under heavy uh, censorship, and the Iranian nation may very well be destroyed by the Mac Daddy's government, Justin, the long-haired Mac Daddy, Trudeau, because new reports have come out that the Mac Daddy and his liberals and his government are doubling down on their threats to regulate social media. And I won't say regulate, I will say censor. Now, they are trying to use the term ban fake news. But really, when you hear the word fake news is really in the eye of the beholder as far as I'm concerned. Because I have seen situations where people like CNN or whoever have said this is fake news. And it turns out that it wasn't exactly fake. I mean, the way it was said may have been a bit strange, but the general content was not fake. Now, if you're going to tell me that you're going to trust people like Justin the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau and Emmanuel cougar-loving Macron in France and all these globalists to censor fake news without censoring people who are speaking out against them, then really you are extremely naive, extremely ignorant, and there's probably no point in me even speaking to you, so you might as well just shut this off and continue watching King of the Hill or South Park, which are two very great shows, and I watch them all the time. But, it's clear that you really don't know anything about real life and what's really going on and what's really going down in your world and in your society. So with that, let's read this article, which I have just posted on the comments section. The Trudeau Mac Daddy liberals, I just used the word Mac Daddy, but the Trudeau liberals are getting serious about their plans to regulate companies like Facebook and appear to be in the early stages of an action plan. While Trudeau reportedly brought up the issue recently in person to Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg, the actual work would fall to Minister of Democratic Institutions, Karina Gould. And Gould sounds like ghoul, and she probably is a ghoul, has repeatedly stated that while social media companies are taking initial steps to ensure that their platforms are not being used as tools for foreign disinformation campaigns to undermine Canada's democratic institutions, there still remains a great deal of work to be done. Now, the thing that really bothers me, and should bother you too if you care about freedom, and if you don't care about freedom, you're free to go to Cuba, North Korea, China, all those other places. You're free to go there. You're free to live there. But the thing is that I don't trust the government deciding what should and shouldn't be online. Because, especially in a parliamentary democracy where if you have a majority, you can do pretty much whatever you want. If now you are saying that the Mac Daddy or any prime minister has the power to say, this is fake news, this is not fake news, we don't want this on there, we're going to censor this, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've heard the Mac Daddy talk about the Rebel Media, which is Canada's number one right-wing news organization, commentary organization on Facebook, and the Rebel Media. They don't like Trudeau, which a lot of people don't like him these days. In fact, most people in Canada don't like the Mac Daddy these days. There's still quite a lot of airheaded dunderheads in this country who still worship the Mac Daddy. But I mean, we'll see what happens in 2019. But he has said things that, people shouldn't associate with the rebel and this and that. I mean, who is this prime minister to say what we can and can't associate with? This Mac Daddy. This dumbass from the pit of hell telling me or any of us who we shouldn't associate with. Who the hell do you think you are? This guy is going to censor the internet. This is not a campaign to get rid of fake news. It's not. This is a campaign to censor, very badly, deeply censor the internet. And I'm telling you right now, the Iran nation is hanging by a thread. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's why I have backup sites like BitChute. I don't want to call it a backup site. Actually, you know what? I consider them equal. Because my BitChute viewers, my YouTube viewers, they're all the same. They're all the same. I don't even say backup. They're all the same. They're all the same. But if YouTube says, I guess I say backup because YouTube came first. But if the government or YouTube decides to destroy the Iran nation, let me tell you something. The Iran nation is never going away. I will find ways to get the message across. And the reason why the Mac Daddy's doing this, and the reason why his government is getting serious about censoring the internet is because people like the Iran nation has got his ass on the run. And he knows it. And he's feeling the heat. Once upon a time, people like me and other people online, well, there was no online back then, but people like me, average people, couldn't do anything. There was the mainstream media. That was it. CBC, Crooked Broadcasting Corporation. That's where all Canadians got their news from, and CTV. Now you can get your news anywhere you want. Online, on television, in the newspaper. There's news all over. If you don't trust one organization, you can go to the other. What the Mac Daddy wants to do is get that monopoly back. So that CBC and the newspapers, he wants to say that the internet is full of fake news. The internet is not to be trusted. It should be censored by the government and controlled by the government. And all the news, we decide what to show you. We decide. And if any leader, conservative or liberal, was trying to advocate that, I would be totally against it. I would be totally against it. I would. No matter. If Harper was prime minister and said we have to regulate and censor the internet, I'd come down on him like a ton of bricks. 110-pound bricks I'd come down on him if he did that. But of course he wouldn't do that because usually conservatives don't advocate for taking away freedom of speech. Usually. There are instances, and I'm sure some troll will give me an instance, but there are. But that's mostly a liberal thing or a socialist thing. They don't like freedom of speech because they're insecure people. They don't really truly believe in what they're doing. They know what they're doing is angering the public, and they know what they do is unpopular. The Mac Daddy knows that giving billions of dollars to other countries, meanwhile, he says that veterans are asking for too much, giving $10 million to Omar Nappy Beard Khadr, meanwhile saying veterans ask for too much. Meanwhile, natives are living with poisonous water and the government hasn't spent a penny to fix the problem. He knows all that stuff angers smart Canadians with brains. He knows it. That's why he needs to censor the internet, to get that mainstream media monopoly back. So that CBC and CTV, those guys, can be the only ones who people turn to for news once again. And commentary. And to hell with the Iran nation. And to hell with freedomreport.ca with Kevin J. Johnson. And to hell with the rebel media. To hell with all of them. And anybody who comes up against the Mac Daddy or the system gets censored. Well, the Iran nation ain't gonna let that happen. And I can tell you, Canadians, many Canadians might unfortunately be wimps when it comes to their government, but I have a feeling that if this government goes so far as to censor the internet, you are going to see a bitch ass fight, the likes of which the world has never seen. This is the Iran nation. Try me, Mac Daddy. Try to take on the Iran nation and see what will happen.